God bless all the women in Ghana. God bless all the women in Africa. God bless all the women globally, and especially the women of the mothers of our guests, the mothers of our avid listeners, the mothers of the entire crew of ỌDADEƐ Health Matters, and especially to my mother, Mary Maria Atognoria Nafo, who reportedly breastfed me for 3 years. Right, yeah, I mean, I grew up and I heard that she breastfed me for 3 years. That's a long time if you ask me. But that was somewhere in the early 90s. She was working, but she did have support, and times then were different. Times have since changed. And the challenges of the woman back in the early 90s are in the same challenges today. The modern woman is tasked with the challenge of having to juggle both their work, their careers, which are very, very important, together with also taking care of their families, which is even more important. Right, so these challenges could come in the form of breastfeeding and all. And because of that, the World Health Organization, together with every stakeholder of health, has dedicated the 1st to the 7th of August, the first week in August, to what we call World Breastfeeding Week. We use this period to try and encourage and motivate and push and support to ensure that children are breastfed well because of the benefits that would inure. We'll soon find out about that. Right. So the theme for this year's World Breastfeeding Week was let's make breastfeeding and work. Right. It sounds some way. It sounds off, right? Yeah, but listen to it a little more carefully. Let's make breastfeeding and work. So basically, let's make breastfeeding and careers work. Let's make breastfeeding and the careers of our noble women work. Because of that, ỌDADEƐ Health Matters, you know what we do. We educate, we inform, we enlighten, and we shed light on everything health, on all the topical health issues. So we are running with the topic breastfeeding and work, scaling the challenges of today's woman, scaling the challenges, overcoming the hurdles of the modern woman. And we already have our guest seated, beautiful, elegant person, I must add. Someone I've known for the better part of, I would say, about 3-4 years. She's a proud mother and who juggles her work with her role as a mother beautifully. Someone I admire for her ability to do that. She's not just a mother, she also, like I already informed you, she's a medical doctor working in one of the most exacting specialties in one of the busiest hospitals in Ghana. I'm talking about the child health department of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. She's not here alone. She is with her husband. I've known him for the better part of 15 years. Yeah, it's been that long. 15 good years. And I remember him so well. Let me jump off and skip introducing my guest to introducing this friend of mine, who is the better half of our guest today. He's an ỌDADEÄ. He was with us in the year between the years 2008 to 2012. He was actually my mate. That was about 15 years ago, right? I'm sure you can hear the sounds of a child, right? Right. These are the realities. We wanted to bring to you what it does mean to scale the challenges of the modern woman. Even as she's in the studio trying to educate and inform us, she also has the role of taking care of her child. This child is currently with the husband, a very supportive one. But all the same, you can still see the challenges that we are beset with. Right. Okay, so this person I already told you has been known to me for the past 15 years. We set foot in Presec from Obuasi. We came together in a bus. The very first time for both of us in Accra. We stepped foot in September 2008 in Presec. And the friendship grew and blossomed, and it's been a wonderful one. I take him as a brother, and at a point in time, people actually thought we were brothers. But for my tribal mark, they would have actually thought we were twins. Right. Yeah, I'm talking of no other person than ỌDADEÄ engineer Daniel Asamoah-Entwi. I can see that future ỌDADEÄ Raphael is giving us trouble. That regardless, just say hello to our listeners.
Hello, this is ỌDADEÄ engineer Daniel Asamoah-Entwi speaking.
Right.
And thank you so much, Dr. Awuni, for this opportunity.
Right. We are glad you made time to be with us. Having gotten that out of the way, let's introduce our guest. Of course, like I said, she came with a husband, an ỌDADEƐ, a Christian gentleman who came, opened the door, just like our past sessions where ỌDADEƐs who often come with their spouses, they would often do. Right. So our guest, I've already told you, is a woman who takes pride in her duties as a mother and also as a medical doctor at the Child Health Department of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. I'm talking about Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah. Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah, you're welcome to the studios of ỌDADEƐ Radio.
Thank you very much. It's an honor for me to be here.
Right. We are privileged and honored to have you. And when I made the call to her, I noticed it was a pretty late call, I would have to admit. So she paused a bit, but I realized that, look, ỌDADEƐ Raphael would soon be in Presec. Her husband, ỌDADEƐ Samoenchi, would not allow her to go without coming to educate us. Right, ỌDADEƐ Raphael is saying hi to you all. Right. Okay, so we'll get into talking our topic, breastfeeding and work, scaling the challenges of the modern day woman, scaling the challenges of today's woman. Right. So Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah, how is work like at the Child Health Department in Korle Bu Teaching Hospital?
Well, it's pretty demanding.
Right.
I mean, we spend a lot of time at work. It hasn't been easy, but with God in the vessel, we are smiling at the storms.
Right.
But it's also very interesting to see very sick children getting better every day. So it's very encouraging.
Right. Very encouraging. With God in the vessel, she's sailing smoothly. There are a lot of hurdles, but just because God is within the vessel, that's why it is sailing smoothly, right? And she takes pride, she takes joy in that. She's mentioned that seeing kids get better drives her on. It is a passion. So we're really grateful to you for all the work that you do.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I think you work in all the units within the child health department, from emergency to the neonatal ICU to the outpatient department to the inpatient department, right?
Yeah, currently I'm with the pediatric ICU.
Wow.
That's PICU for
Right,
short.
right.
Yes, but we receive cases from the emergency, from the wards, from NICU. We even receive patients from outside the facility as well.
Right. So we're talking about PICU, the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit, where children who are critically and seriously ill. So if you have any child in the northern part of Ghana, in the Ashanti region, wherever it may be, right, if they need some sort of critical support, we are talking about ventilator support, helping them breathe, helping their hearts function, whatever it may be, you're more likely to see Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah. You meet her at the pediatric ICU of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. God bless you so much for all the work that you do. Right. So before we get into our topic, breastfeeding and work, scaling the challenges of today's woman, we want to know about your high school, right? Which school you attended, the years in which you were within that school, your experiences, did you enjoy it, and all?
Okay, so I attended a very good all-female school.
Right.
I went to Wesley Girls High School, Cape Coast,
Right.
the original one.
The original
Okay,
Wesley
so,
Girls. Right.
I graduated in 2013, so class of 2013. Actually, it's been 10 years now since we left school. And I was in Waldron House. Shout out to Waldron House girls out there.
Waldron House.
Yeah.
All the Waldron House girls. Do I know any of them?
I don't. I'm
You
not
doubt.
sure.
You doubt. You're not to say. How about those who were in the class of 2012? Do you know any who were in Waldron House? I may know one or two.
2012.
Anyways,
I can't remember their
which
names.
do you know Enyonam and Medume?
And your name, I'm not too sure.
Okay. How about Afi and Naglati?
Oh yeah, I know
In
enough.
Afi.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Afi.
Which house was she in?
I can't recall.
Ah.
There were a lot, so it's difficult to remember.
Right,
but once you see the person's face, you know that this person wasn't gay.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I don't know the student population of your school, but for someone like me, if you mention the name of any of my juniors, I'm likely to actually know the house.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is pretty simple. It's not because I remember people too easily. it is because I loved the dining hall back then. Right. I never missed it. And so because of that, I got to know quite a number of people through the dining hall. I did not mention that the first person who took me to the dining hall, what we call the octagon in Presec, was ỌDADEƐ Samoa.
Oh, okay.
Right. So when I came to school, I was confused. I did not even know which place was which place. And I was not even hungry. I was homesick. So for close to a week, I had not been to the dining hall. Right. Then he met me one day. I was like, I've not been seen at the dining hall. I'm like, I don't even know where it is. So then he led me there.
Serious.
Right. To the famous octagon.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were in Wesley Girls, graduated in 2013.
Yeah.
Presec, we are very charitable. They are celebrating a decade since they left Wesley Girls High School. Speak true, live something, right, wrong, follow the king.
Yeah, live pure, speak true, right, wrong,
follow the king. Follow the king. Right. Yeah, so they are celebrating, I think you call it Wrigley's Day.
Yeah, Wrigley Day.
Okay,
yeah.
so free publication, free publicity, I should say, for the class of 2013. They're celebrating a decade of, since leaving, Wesley Girls High School to take their places in various aspects of our society. So I think they'll be running a program, they'll invite quite a number of people. So look out for Wrigley's Day for the class of 2013. Right.
Yeah.
Were you into any activities, any extracurricular activities while in Wesley Girls?
I was a shy type.
Oh,
and I was quiet, but I was with Red Cross.
Oh, Red Cross.
Yeah, so Intercor, you see us there.
You're the ones taking care of the people.
Yeah.
So you're not part of the people saying, we clap, we clap.
Oh, we do that sometimes.
Okay, can you give me a bit of a rendition? We clap, we clap, we clap, we clap. Then what do you add?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember there were some of them that you do and stuff like that. Wesley Girls.
We had a lot of songs.
Wesley Girls High School. I mean, they are one of our opponents. We know we are better, right? We know we are better, right? But
in what sense?
They're one of the best schools in Ghana and then in West Africa. Mr. Adadeɛ, our technical producer, right? So Mr. Adadeɛ actually believes him. He attended St. Augustine's College. He believes, Presec is better than Wesley Girls. But Wesley Girls, when it comes to the girls' schools, you are the best.
Thank you.
Or you don't agree?
Oh, even it's not just the girls' schools.
All of us.
Yes, all of you.
Okay, we are looking forward to seeing the National Science and Maths quiz this year, where you show your cratchet powers.
We'll be there.
Right. A shout out to all my mates who attended Wesley Girls High School, Marilena Muhammad Appau, Afia Naglati, Lois and Obisiu. I think I know quite a number of them, their names. Right, all of them. Mayona Mamedume, Afia Naglati, Esther Moating Mensa. There are quite a number in our class. There are quite a number. And they are doing pretty well. Not surprised. I mean, they are great. They attended a great school, so that's expected, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we've taken high school out of the way. Let's get into our topic. So the World Health Organization has dedicated the first week in August every single year. I was born in August.
Oh, okay.
12th of August to be specific. So when I came to realize that the first week of August was dedicated to breastfeeding, I was wondering, is it because my mom breastfed me for 3 years? Is that a reason? Or what exactly? Why do we dedicate a whole week to celebrating what we call World Breastfeeding Week? And what exactly is it?
Okay, so like you rightly said, World Breastfeeding Week is the first week of August in every year.
Right.
So basically, the whole idea is to educate and then create awareness about the importance of breastfeeding, and not just creating awareness, but then to support women who are breastfeeding as well.
Right. So that's why the whole week the whole week is dedicated to celebrating this important subject, breastfeeding. Someone might actually say, oh, this is not too important. But what UNICEF actually says is that the most important and critical step after a child is born is breastfeeding. That will determine whether the child would live or die. That will determine if the child would grow and be smart, or in quotes, forgive my words, dumb. It will determine quite a lot of things. Right, so let's get to knowing the benefits of breastfeeding. What are the benefits of breastfeeding?
So breastfeeding, like I said, is very important. Has a lot of benefits, both to the mother and then the baby.
Oh, okay.
So we'll start with the baby. So
it's
baby,
not just the baby,
no,
both mother and baby.
Mother also benefits.
Right.
So with the baby, breast milk contains antibodies. If we say antibodies, they are the soldiers in the body that help to fight off infection.
Right.
So for these newborns, they are getting antibodies from the mother's milk. So already they are being equipped with soldiers to fight off infection.
Right.
And then breast milk, about 90% of it is water. So it helps to keep the baby well hydrated. You don't need to be adding on water.
Right.
You already have all the water that you need. And then breast milk in itself also has the required nutrients that a newborn will need. Not just the required nutrients, but then in their right proportions. So it helps in proper development of the newborn. Okay, and then the process of breastfeeding itself, it's an act of bonding for mother and baby. So the baby gets a special bond with the mother. And then when we come to the mother, it reduces the risk of some cancers. That's what research has shown.
Right.
So some cancers like ovarian cancer and then breast cancer. And then breastfeeding your baby is very cost effective. Now, formally on the market are so expensive. Not everyone can afford it, but once you're a mother and you have given birth before, you can afford breast milk. I mean, it's free.
Right.
You don't have to buy it.
Right.
So it's very, very affordable. And then it also saves time. So imagine if you want to use formula, you now have to sterilize your bottles, you have to heat water, get your equipment ready. But breast milk, once baby starts crying, you just put the breast in the mouth and baby is good to go. So breast milk has a lot of benefits.
Right.
Another important benefit of breast milk is that research has shown that babies who are breastfed, they tend to score higher on IQ tests.
Okay.
And everybody wants their baby to be smart. So it's an easy way of getting your baby to be smart.
I don't know if I'm smart, but then probably if I am,
it's because of the breastfeeding.
Yeah, breastfeeding for 3 good years. Right. I would want us to go over these benefits again. They are very key and very important. The reason I'm saying so is, you mentioned a bit about antibodies, which you stated, soldiers that are found within the breast milk. So when the baby breastfeeds, they help the baby in fending off infections and other diseases and illnesses.
Yeah.
Right. Why is that important? Is it because the babies, their immune system or their ability to produce soldiers is not yet well developed?
Yes. So with a newborn, the immune system is not well developed, like you already said. If you compare an adult's immune system to a newborn's, you will see that there's a vast difference. So if the baby's immunity is not well developed and he's getting antibodies to support him, then that's a very good thing for babies.
Right. So because their immune system is not well developed, getting these antibodies, also known as soldiers in layman's terms, actually help the baby in fending off infections, diarrheal infections, respiratory tract infections, and all the things that would typically cause what we call under 5 mortality. Right. That is certainly important. I've been praising my mom about breastfeeding me for 3 years. But there was one thing that she did when one of my cousins gave birth. And I look back and I'm wondering. And the reason I'm bringing this in is because you mentioned breast milk contains about 90% water.
Yeah.
Okay. So when my cousin gave birth somewhere in 2001.
Okay.
Right. I was still pretty young. I did not know much about medicine or health or anything. And the place was not a place where we typically knew so much about medicine. Winkogo. It's a village somewhere in the Upper East region. Right. So she came home with my cousin's daughter, Franklina, and what she told us was that the doctors mentioned not to give the baby any water. But then when the doctors left the room, she quickly snuck in and then gave the child some water, because she was wondering why would he say not to give the baby water. So I want you to hammer on that again. Are you telling us that we do not need to give babies water during the first few months
of life?
Of life?
Yes, you don't need to give baby water because the milk, like I said, has about 90% water.
Right.
So it's even more than enough. So it will help to keep the baby hydrated, and it serves its purpose. So, and going to give the baby water, sometimes you're not so sure about the hygienic conditions of the water you're going to be given.
Right.
So it's better to stick with the breast milk, which has sterile water,
Right.
than to go for water from outside.
Right. So breast milk is nutritious.
Yeah.
It contains the right amount of nutrients in their right proportions. So that's basically a balanced diet. God is an amazing architect, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
An amazing
Balanced
architect.
diet.
Balanced diet for the baby in the right proportions. Includes water as well. There's mineral, there's the vitamins and everything. Proteins, every single thing.
Yeah.
So I remember there was this video circulating around of a man, a grown man, who went about saying that no for the BBO, it contains everything. Or say it contains vitamins, it contains minerals, it contains fruits and vegetables. I say, sir? Well, that's good news. If we know that breast milk contains everything necessary for the growth and development of the baby, it's really important then that we spend a whole week, especially the first week of my birth month, to celebrate breastfeeding and see how we can support women along this good cause. Right. So if we would want to summarize the benefits of breastfeeding, what the World Health Organization says that children who are not breastfed, they have a 14 times increased risk of dying before their first birthday compared to children who have been breastfed. I'll wait a little, let that sink in. So if a child has not been breastfed, they have a 14 times increased risk of dying before their first birthday. So before they turn one, they're already at a disadvantage, 14 times increased risk of dying compared to children who have been breastfed. If nothing at all strikes you, if everything Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah has told you does not strike you at all, I want you to keep this at the back of your mind and realize how important breastfeeding is for the baby, and also she's made us understand for the mother, helps with bonding and all. Yeah. Now, considering how important breast milk and therefore breastfeeding is, when is the right time for a baby to be introduced to the mother to start breastfeeding? When does the breastfeeding process start?
So it's advised to start as soon as possible. So within the first 30 minutes to 1 hour after delivery.
Right.
Yes, you can start breastfeeding your baby, provided there are no medical hindrances.
Right.
So you can.
So medical hindrances like what? What could
So sometimes someone may have had a cesarean section, or mother may be bleeding excessively after delivery.
Right.
You need to save the mother's life first. In that sense, you're not going to say mother should come and breastfeed baby before you do any interventions that you are supposed to do. So aside that, and then maybe
so basically you're talking about complication related pregnancy. So those who may have eclampsia with resultant kidney injury, and then they are basically fending and fighting for their lives at that point in time. So may not really be able to initiate the breastfeeding process at that point in time. But even for those who have who undergo cesarean section, if there are no complications,
they can start
immediately. So first 30 minutes to an hour.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's good. So, I mean, you mentioned that this helps with bonding. So the earlier you start, the better the bonding process. So to all the mothers there, after you've given birth, we know you went through the throes of labor. I've never experienced it. I hear it's very, very painful. I don't know. I hear it's very, very painful. But afterwards, there's something I always notice. After they've given birth, after the child comes out, there's this relief and then this euphoria. They're excited. They are even wishing and praying that the baby comes immediately to them. Right. So to the mothers out there, you can start breastfeeding as soon as possible, as soon as you deliver, as long as there are no obstacles, there are no hindrances to you breastfeeding. And also to the midwives, to our birth attendants, after a woman has delivered, please don't let the red tape procedures and other things prevent babies and their mothers from rooming in, what we call rooming in, from getting in together and then initiating the breastfeeding process. A very, very significant and important process in the development and growth of our children. Right. I think one of the challenges that new mothers would typically have, and I know you were a new mother not too long ago, but thankfully you also have attended medical school, so you may not have had as much challenge as other women. I would want you to take us through the proper technique for breastfeeding, because I've been informed it's not every technique that works. So can you take us through the proper technique for breastfeeding?
Okay, so the proper technique of breastfeeding. So the whole idea is that mother will be comfortable, baby will also be comfortable.
Right.
Okay, and then you want to get into a position that can let baby have as much milk as possible. So you can start off first by getting a comfortable chair, or maybe if your bed, you can put pillows there to make you more comfortable. Make sure your back is relaxed, your arms are relaxed, and then you hold baby, you support baby's neck, the shoulders and the back as well. And then you make sure baby's head is tilted backwards slightly.
Okay.
And baby should be facing you. Baby's face should face the breast, and the nose should point towards the breast. Okay. So whilst you are doing this, you are making sure that the head and the back are in a straight line. Baby is not twisted or turned in an awkward way.
Right.
So when you get that into that position, and then once baby opens, one tip that you can use to help you get baby to open the mouth is when you brush the nipple against the upper lip.
Oh.
So to open the mouth, and then you don't have to lean forward and put the breast in the baby's mouth. Once the baby's mouth is open, you bring the baby towards you and then let the breast gently sit in the mouth. But like I said, the head has to be tilted back a bit.
A little.
Yes, so it's like the chin will be ahead, like leading.
Okay.
So once the chin is leading, you'll be able to put the black part of the breast is called areola.
Right.
Yes, so you fix that part into the baby's mouth, and you make sure that you are seeing more areola at the top than at the bottom. So it's like the most part of the areola is in the baby's mouth.
Okay.
Okay, so this will help the baby to get a lot of milk from the breast. Okay.
So basically, we are looking at, when you say the areola, you said the black part that is surrounding the nipple.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just putting only the nipple in the baby's mouth.
No, not just the nipple. Yes.
So the baby needs to, what we call latching on.
Yes.
The baby needs to latch on properly. And you said one of the tricks is to make sure that the areola, which is the black or darkened part, there's more of it above than below.
Yes.
Right. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, so you said the chin should lead.
Yeah.
Right, so the chin should lead. So it means that when they are breastfeeding, the chin is likely to be touching the breast itself,
Yes.
or a little, or a bit close, touching. So that would be the proper technique.
Yeah.
Right, so the chin leads, and then when they get close, you brush the nipple along their upper lip.
Yes.
Okay, and they themselves would immediately go for it.
Yes.
So it's like a
they
reflex.
Have inborn reflexes, yes.
Oh, okay.
So it helps the baby to open the mouth, and then you can.
Is there a special name for this reflex?
We have the routine reflex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, just use it to touch the upper lip, and they themselves would go for it.
Yeah.
But you ensure that as much of the breast, not just the nipple, but as much of it goes into the mouth. So in this case, it will mean that the nipple would go way back into probably the soft part.
Yes.
Okay.
Of the mouth,
okay.
The upper part.
Because it's not really the nipple that produces the breast milk.
Yes. So the nipple is just it just has openings for the milk to come out of, but the passage of the milk, it starts like you have some in the areola. So if the baby's mouth, the areola is in the mouth, there'll be compression on that and help to express the milk.
Right.
So it's not just the nipple.
The nipple is just an exit for the breast milk. So if you just put that part in there, then the baby would have to be sucking deep like that, and then there's nothing coming. Right. Okay, so just to summarize, some of the ways to know that there's good technique is: 1, both mother and baby should be comfortable.
Yes.
Okay. 2, you support the neck and then the head, because typically they are not able to control themselves. So you make sure that you support it very well. And then you tilt the head a bit backwards, not too much.
No.
Okay, but just a little, so that the chin leads forward.
Yes.
Okay. I've done a bit of anesthesia, so it may actually be like the sniffing position we use when we are intubating
a patient.
Okay, so you let the chin lead, and then you brush the nipple along the upper lip, and then the routine reflex, which you've mentioned, reflexes that are inborn, would immediately let the child go in for the nipple, but you make sure that the areola also gets into the mouth such that the upper part, so the areola is less on the upper side compared to the lower part.
No, it's more on the upper side compared to the lower, because the lower, the chin is getting closer to the breast.
Right,
so you wouldn't see more of that down there.
I've actually seen that quite a number of children, the ones that are usually quiet, what I've seen and experienced in my practice, the ones that are usually quiet and seem to be breastfeeding well, like their lower lip is usually turned like that, it's everted. I don't know if that also helps. So the lower lip is turned like that, and then it's like it helps them latch onto the breast better.
Yes,
right.
That also helps.
So if you're just tuning in, this is ỌDADEƐ Health Matters. This is where we educate, this is where we inform, and this is where we enlighten you on everything health. We inform you on the topical health issues, bring you solutions to them, so that we can all live a healthy, happy life. And what are we discussing? We're discussing breastfeeding and work, scaling and overcoming the challenges of today's woman, the modern day woman, who has to juggle her work, her career, together with this daunting task of parenthood, of motherhood, a noble one regardless. Right. So we've spoken about proper breastfeeding technique. We've spoken about the benefits that come from it. There's one term that I came across in my research. I kept seeing it. Exclusive breastfeeding. And one exclusive. What are we talking about? Are we talking about mutually exclusive improbability or exclusive breastfeeding? Or it means that only one person should suckle on a woman's breast? Should it be just the firstborn child or the last one? What exactly is exclusive breastfeeding? Right.
Okay, so with exclusive breastfeeding, what we are saying is that in the first 6 months of life, baby needs just breast milk. You don't need to add on formula. You don't need to add on porridges. You don't need to add on even water, like we said earlier.
Okay.
It's solely breast milk.
For the first 6 months of life.
Yes, the first 6 months. I mean, that's what the WHO recommends.
And this is based on research.
Yes.
Okay. Why is it important? Why is it that within the first 6 months we are only giving the baby breast milk and nothing else?
Okay, so breast milk, like we said earlier, has the right amount of nutrients for the baby. And research has also shown that babies who are exclusively breastfed are less likely to acquire respiratory tract infections, intestinal infections, and even allergies. And another thing is, when they are that young, they don't have neck control. So imagine if you want to give your newborn baby banku or rice or something that they have to make so much effort like in swallowing, baby might even choke.
Right.
So that's why it's advisable to just give the baby breast milk. It's easy to digest for them at that point in time, at that point in their life. It's easy to swallow. So that's why we encourage exclusive breastfeeding.
So basically, breast milk for the first 6 months of life is adequate and is enough to provide and cater for the needs of a baby, such that you don't have to include anything. And including these other things actually takes off these benefits, because the child would actually get full eating all the formula and other things when there's something even more important in breast milk. So that's why for the first 6 months, it is encouraged and advised and admonished that children are breastfed or babies are breastfed on breast milk only and nothing else. But I'm sure there may be peculiar circumstances where maybe you might need to supplement. So maybe the mother passing, unfortunately.
And then there's no one to provide breast
milk.
milk.
Okay.
Yes, and in some medical conditions like galactosemia, where baby is allergic, we have situations like that. Baby cannot take the milk because of medical reasons.
So this galactosemia, we're talking about the baby having challenges with digesting and metabolizing breast milk.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, so if you give it to them, it will actually cause more harm than good.
Yes.
What did you say the name was again?
Galactosemia.
Galactosemia. Galactose. Okay, that makes sense. Galactose for milk, and then semia for whatever it may be. So this is a medical term for all those people who may be interested. Galactosemia. So basically, it's like a challenge with metabolizing or using breast milk. So if you give it to them, it's more likely to cause more harm than good. Now, there's a practice in my research that I came across amongst some people, I think amongst the Mexicans, and even within Ghana, amongst some people, a lot of people, I should say. There's what we call the best of both practice, best of both. So basically what they do is that they think that formula has some advantages and breast milk also has some advantages. So they want to use both of them to complement each other. Is this necessary for the first 6 months?
It's not necessary. Like we said, breast milk has everything.
Right.
So you don't need to worry yourself so much about going for that other thing that you think formula will have. Breast milk has everything. So you're okay with the breast milk.
Right. So breast milk contains everything. So the best of both practices or practice is not something we should be encouraging. Just give only breast milk, right? Breast milk contains everything that the formula that you are giving contains. I would not want to mention names of formulae because we would be advertising them, right? But basically, breast milk contains every single nutrient that these formulae contain and more, including antibodies, right? So breast milk for the first 6 months is what Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah is telling us is referred to as exclusive breastfeeding. Okay. My mom breastfed me for 3 years. Anytime I think about it, it's actually funny, right? How long should the entire period of breastfeeding last for?
Okay, so WHO recommends at least 2 years.
Okay.
If you can. Some people can do more, like your mother did. So if you can, it's okay.
Right.
But once you hit 2 years, some people also are not able to hit the 2 years. It doesn't mean you didn't do the right thing. But once you're able to exclusively breastfeed baby for the first 6 months of life, you start adding on feeds because as they grow, the breast milk alone is not enough for them because they are growing. Yes. So you can add on some feeds after 6 months, and then together, it doesn't mean you should stop with the breast milk. So you're doing breast milk, you're doing your feeds, and as long as you can. So at least 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
At least 2 years for both exclusive breastfeeding and also adding on other supplements. So basically, or complementary feeding, what we would call it. So basically, I encourage to breastfeed exclusively only breast milk for the first 6 months, and then after 6 months you'd start adding on some foods to supplement the needs of the baby, because at that point in time their body is growing and it needs way more than the breast milk can provide.
Right, yes.
I would invite you one of these days to come back and then tell us some of these foods that we should add. I don't think it's just tozafi alone or anything like fufu with ebunu. I don't think it's just that. I'm sure there are particular foods. So we'll definitely invite Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah to come back, educate us on some of these food substances that we can add to complement breast milk after 6 months. It will be like I'm putting you on the spots. But let me ask you regardless. Were you able to breastfeed for 2 years? Are you still breastfeeding future or daddy Raphael?
Okay, so no, I stopped at 17 months.
Right. At 17 months. So we're looking at 1 year and 5 months. Right.
Yes.
Okay. And that is because of some challenges.
Yeah.
Right. And that is why we're talking about those challenges today. Right. So it should have been for 2 years. But at 1 year and 5 months, she was shy by about sorry, that was about how many months more?
About 7 months.
About 7 months, just about 7 months before. I mean, you did a good job considering your workload and everything. I'd have to say you did a good job. But we're talking about those barriers, some of those barriers that you encountered, and some of the barriers that a modern day woman encounters. Yes. But before we do, we would want to go on a quick break to acknowledge our sponsors. When we return, there's going to be more for you on ỌDADEƐ Health Matters. We have been discussing breastfeeding and work, scaling the challenges of the modern day woman. And we have in the studios our elegant and beautiful and pretty queen, Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah, a lady who takes a lot of pleasure in what she does as a medical doctor at the Child Health Department of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, while juggling that with the challenges and the responsibilities of being a mother. You are listening to us live on our app, or ỌDADEƐ radio app that you can get from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. You can also listen to us live on YouTube at ỌDADEƐ Radio, on Facebook at ỌDADEƐ Radio Ghana. You can connect with us on our various social media handles, on Instagram, on Twitter, now X, at ỌDADEƐ Radio, every social media handle at ỌDADEƐ Radio. And this and every Wednesday will come your way, will educate you, inform you, enlighten you on everything health and all the topical health issues that plague our communities. And we want to send in a message. We are very interactive. You can send it to a WhatsApp number 02000929925. 02000929925. And if you're outside Ghana, don't forget to add the country code +233. I've forgotten the rest, right? +233 +233 right? I've never stepped foot outside Ghana, so when I begin to mention the country code, then I forget everything, right? Okay, so we'll go on a quick commercial break to acknowledge our sponsors. We'll be right back with more on breastfeeding and work, how we'll scale the challenges of the modern day woman. Don't touch the dial.
What does the Bible say? And what sort of light does it throw on any life-related issue? John chapter 1 verse 5 states, "And the light shineth in darkness, and darkness comprehended it not." Light for Life is a Christian panel discussion program on all life-related issues and how the Bible helps us in its day-to-day application. Beloved, my name is Reverend Godwin Kwashi, and I invite you to join me and my guests on the Light for Life program on ỌDADEƐ Radio Online this and every Sunday from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. I trust that as we engage in this Light for Life program, we'll all be able to say to our God, "In thy light we shall see light." God richly bless you as you tune in.
I don't know what I would do without him. Whom shall I fear? There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love.
Say no to single-use plastic bags. They are destroying our environment. Water bodies contribute to most of the rubbish in open spaces and gutters, contributing to floods. Fish and livestock are ingesting plastics, which poses danger to our health. Plastics take ages to decompose and are harmful to the environment. Be responsible. Join eco-conscious citizens in supporting International Plastic Bag Free Day and say no to plastic bags. Use a basket, jute bag, or other biodegradable bags on 3rd July and every other day.
Did you know that 90% of people with autoimmune diseases will be misdiagnosed or spend years before a diagnosis is made? Precious time that could lead to organ damage. Autoimmune diseases occur when the immune system starts to attack healthy organs and cells in the body till they are destroyed. These conditions are more severe and are increasingly seen in people of African ancestry. The Rheumatology Initiative TRI is an NGO leading with education, advocacy, and research in autoimmune diseases. TRI ensures patients have the right peer support with a support group of over 200 people diagnosed with autoimmune conditions. The Rheumatology Initiative provides emergency medication for needy patients and teaches them life skills to ensure some financial stability. TRI reaches patients, health practitioners, and the general public through various educational interventions to enable prompt diagnosis and treatment for improved outcomes. How can you support our work at the Rheumatology Initiative. Please donate to our MTN Momo 024 192 9775. Account name is the Rheumatology Initiative. To volunteer, please send an email to volunteer@tryghana.org. That's TRIGhana.org. Visit our website tryghana.org to reach us, and on social media look for our handles at TryGhana.
Much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry.
You are welcome back. This is ỌDADEƐ Health Matters live here in the studios of ỌDADEƐ Radio, the first high school radio station that is carrying health information, education, what we typically call edu-infotainment. We provide entertainment, we provide education, we provide information. On ỌDADEƐ Health Matters, that's what we do. We educate, we inform, we enlighten you and illuminate. In His light, we see light, and with that light, we shine light on everything health, on all the topical health issues that plague our communities. Right, so we are in the studios with, I nearly added ỌDADEɛ, Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah. Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah is a medical doctor with the Child Health Department of the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. She juggled this very daunting and tasking task with being a mother and a wife to one of our very own ỌDADEɛ, Daniel Asamoah. He was with us between the years 2008 2012, a very good friend of mine. We spent those 4 years together, and subsequently we stayed in touch. So yes, this is a family that I know pretty well. And we're also in the studios with future ỌDADEɛ Raphael, right? Future ỌDADEɛ Raphael. He was disturbing, so his dad had to take him out for, to exercise and then expend all that energy that is associated with childhood, right? Okay, so like I said, we are discussing breastfeeding and work, scaling and overcoming the challenges of today's woman, of the modern day woman. Just before we went on the break, Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah had told us that the recommendation is that you exclusively breastfeed. You give the child only breast milk for the first 6 months, after which you begin to introduce foods, add it with the breast milk, and breastfeed for at least 2 years. She tried her best, but the best that she could do was to breastfeed for a year and 5 months.
Yes.
A year and 5 months. So she was shy of about 7 months. And she said there were some challenges. I would want to know, what are some of the challenges that are making it difficult for the modern day woman who has to juggle her work and her responsibilities as a mother? What are some of these challenges that she has to overcome with regards to breastfeeding?
So there are many challenges that may arise. One of them has to do with your workplace. You're a working mother. So at some point in time, you have to return to work. And unfortunately, maternity leave in Ghana is just 3 months.
3 months?
3 months. But
so that's 12 weeks.
Yes, we are saying exclusively breastfeed your baby for 6 months. And you are given 3 months. So how are you going to do this?
Right.
Yes, so that's a challenge in itself. And then once you resume work, sometimes, not everybody has a breast pump or bags to store the breast milk in. So
what's a breast pump?
So it's used to express.
Okay, so it's like
milk.
a machine or an equipment.
Yes, an equipment, more like an equipment for expressing breast milk.
Okay.
And some women are able to use their hands to express, but with a breast pump, it's easier.
Right.
Yes, so for some workplaces, you don't have a conducive environment where you can go and sit and then express milk if you have a pump and you want to take it to work. And then some workplaces too, they don't have breaks. You have lunch break, you can use that, but lunch break alone may not be enough. Maybe you'd want an hour or even some 30 minutes.
Right.
Yes.
Even as a medical doctor, did you have any lunch breaks?
We don't have lunch breaks because
I've never had a lunch break.
The patients keep coming in, so you eat when there's time. It can be challenging. So. Yes, so but in other workplaces where they have lunch breaks, some women tend to use that. But as a breastfeeding mother, you need to eat as well. So you can't spend all your lunch break expressing milk. So if you had some extra time that you could use to do that. And some workplaces too, once the maternity leave is over, you have to report to work. And sometimes they don't consider that as a breastfeeding mother, you'd have to close early and get home to your baby.
Right.
Yes. But some workplaces do well. Some of them, they give you the option. You can either come to work maybe an hour later, or you can leave an hour earlier. Okay, that's just to help. But not everybody has that luxury. So that can be a challenge as well. And then, Ghana, although we are advocating for breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding, not all our grandmothers, great grandmothers buy into it. So sometimes it puts pressure on you, like you were saying. Your mother gave your cousin's baby water because she thought baby needed water. So we are. It's still a work in progress, but some of our mothers still don't buy into that idea. So they'll put pressure on you. You have to give baby water. When I gave birth to you, I did this. You grew up. Yeah, you are even a medical doctor. I mean, nothing happened to you, so nothing will happen to baby. But times are changing, and with research, we have to, incorporate the new things that we are learning. Right. And then, I mentioned breast pump and storing milk, but not everyone may be financially stable to purchase these items to help with storing breast milk. Some people may not even have working refrigerators, to store these packs of milk in. So
if you express, you're even supposed to store it.
Yes, you're supposed to store it to help it last longer. You can't leave it in room temperature and expect it to last for days. It will go bad. So that is not good. Yes, so the financial bit can also be a challenge. Yes.
Right. Okay, so if I get you right, you've mentioned quite a number of them, like the workplace environment. How often do babies breastfeed? You have experience.
So it's breastfeeding on demand.
Right. That's the point I wanted to bring out.
So babies have their own minds. I mean, they are humans. They get hungry. So once they are hungry, that is the only food they are giving them. So they want it.
Right.
Yes.
So they breastfeed on demand. So they can breastfeed now. In the next 30 minutes, they want breast milk again. And here is the case. Our national laws only provide our mothers, our breastfeeding mothers, with only 3 months absence from work. We are encouraging and we are pushing them to breastfeed exclusively for 6 months. Here is the case, the baby breastfeeds on demand. Time or no pen or person. Time second I bought a new breast milk. Are you looking about a new? Right? So this is a challenge because you're going to be at work at that point in time and the baby's at home crying. So basically the workplace, employment, that's a huge challenge for the modern day woman.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. Yeah, so one of the, like I was saying, one of the things that many women have employed is expressing and then storing the milk.
Right.
So that even in their absence, if they have people who are taking care of their babies, they can continue feeding baby with the breast milk rather than giving something else.
That would mean there'll be the need for family support.
Yes, definitely. There'll be the need for family. You can't do it alone. It's not easy. Once you have support, it makes it easier. Yes.
And now this introduces a new dimension to the whole topic, right? Here's the case, you are a small, young family, yourself, your husband, just gave birth to a child. Now, your husband would also be at work because in Ghana, the laws do not provide us with paternity leave. Watch out. When I get married, I think we should introduce paternity leave. Okay, right? I'll need paternity leave. We don't have paternity leave in Ghana, do we? We don't.
No, but some workplaces consider
give
you some days off. Yes.
So if the case is that husband needs to be at work to be able to get money, to be able to come and take care of both the wife and the baby, husband is not there, mother is asked to return to work after 3 months. In the past, we used to have the extended family system. We used to have grandparents and cousins and all that around. It's a gradual breakdown in the traditional family system.
Yeah.
Does that mean this would also go a long way to be a hindrance?
Yes, it's also a huge challenge because if you have some of your family members around to help you, that would make your work easier. I mean, when you go to work, you're not always thinking, has baby eaten? You know, it's always easier to trust someone you already know than to go and bring in someone new. Sometimes you're always worried, is baby feeding well? Is baby being given the right amount of milk baby needs? So even because of that, some people have resorted to taking babies to crèches as early as 3 months. Yes.
Wow.
You have some facilities that take from 3 months going. Yes. So I mean, it's not. Sometimes you don't have a choice. I mean, that's the only option available to you, because you don't have family members available who would be willing to help.
Right. Did you have any support in regards to family?
Yes. Shout out to my mother. Yes, she's been very, very helpful right from day one. Yes. So and I do long hours at work. So. And she's always there. I mean, I live at Ablekuma, she lives at Kaswa, but she comes over to my place, stays with baby, sleeps over. Wow. Then when I'm off, she goes back. Wow. Yes, home. Wow. So
may we know her name?
So she's Mrs. Agnes Appau-Duah.
Mrs. Agnes Appau-Duah. That Ilumbe song, Yamin Shrama, is specially dedicated to you today and for the rest of your life. Yamin Shrama, especially you. For all the sacrifices you make, having to travel from Kaswa all the way to Ablekuma. You leave your husband, the comfort of your home, to go take care of your grandchildren. I mean, not many mothers would be able to do that and still do that. So, Yamin Shrao, God bless you so much, Madam Agnes Appau-Duah. Right. So, these are some of the challenges. You also mentioned the financial challenges by way of being able to buy these pumps, being able to even pump and then store it. Right. And then in the Ghanaian context, where we have the traditional and the social hindrances, because our mothers practiced something in the past, they felt they should continue. So if you are encouraging and advocating for exclusive breastfeeding, it becomes a challenge. Right. Okay, so these are challenges that we need to look into. It needs an all hands on deck approach for us to be able to, scale some of these challenges. So financial, social, what would you call it? Workplace culture. Very, very important. That's workplace culture, which is what we are stressing on for this year's breastfeeding week, which is what let's make breastfeeding and work. So workplace culture is very key and is very important, especially for this year. But all the other hindrances, it is key that we put in the necessary measures to be able to overcome them. Now, having spoken about these challenges, I think there are some challenges that some women would typically have, right, with regards to breastfeeding. Can you tell us what some of these are and what are the solutions for any mother listening to us?
Okay, so one very common thing you hear a lot of mothers saying is, let me speak to I wasn't producing enough breast milk, so I didn't breastfeed my baby. Yes, so I mean, there's a genuine challenge. I mean, we are different. Okay, so some women are blessed to be producing a lot of breast milk. Others too may not have it that way. But then there are some things that you can do to enhance breast milk production. So one key thing is you have to be well rested. If you are stressed or tired, breast milk production will go low. Right. And then another thing is when you initiate breastfeeding early, it helps in breast milk production. So that is why we encourage that once you deliver, I mean, within 30 minutes to about an hour, you start breastfeeding your baby. So that also helps. And then when you are always with the baby, you're practicing rooming in, you're together with the baby, signals are sent. So the body begins to produce the breast milk that you need for your baby. Right. And then you can't just decide that, okay, this week I'll breastfeed, next week I won't breastfeed. It would cause production to be low, so it has to be a continuous something, like breastfeeding on demand. So it's like a positive feedback. Yes. The more you breastfeed, the more likely you are to produce. Yes. Okay. So breastfeed baby as often as you can. That can also help. And then research has also shown that some foods can help. Even our mothers know them. Right. So once you deliver, they'll tell you, eat a lot of granuts, eat a lot of mashed kenke with granuts. Yes, a lot of the legumes will help to produce more breast milk. And even
What
now,
are these legumes?
So beans,
Beans,
can
okay,
help
okay,
in
okay.
breast milk production, and then eating a good a balanced
Balanced
diet,
diet,
and then
right.
drinking lots of water can
Right.
also help to boost your breast milk production. Apart from that, another challenge that women may face is having sore nipples or cracked nipples.
Right.
So with that, it brings us back to the proper technique of breastfeeding. If you are not putting baby to breast well, you're just giving baby the nipple, the chances of you getting sore nipples are very high and it can be very painful. And because of that, some women will decide not to breastfeed because they are in a lot of pain. Why should I continue breastfeeding my
Right.
baby? But once you are putting baby to breast well, baby's latching on well, the chances of you developing this is quite low.
Right.
Yes, and another challenge that we may have is some women, like I said, produce a lot of breast milk naturally, so they may tend to have painful breasts, engorged breasts. The breast may be swollen with a lot of milk. I mean, they are breastfeeding, but the milk is just so much.
Right.
So one thing you can do is to express and store, because a time will come when you need the breast milk, so you can express and store. And then you can also massage the breast, and then yes, you can use warm compress. That can also help to ease the pain a bit. And then, like I said, breastfeed baby as often as possible.
Right.
Don't leave the milk to be staying in there when baby needs the milk.
Right.
Yes.
Right. These are very key topics that we need to discuss, because in and of themselves they can often discourage the mother from breastfeeding the baby. Right. Back to the point about a woman not producing enough breast milk. Could it also be the possibility that it's just a bad technique that makes her think the breast milk is not coming, but she's producing enough, but just the technique is bad?
The technique is So we said earlier on, if we are just putting the nipple in the baby's mouth, baby will just be struggling to get some milk, but it's not coming. So you think the milk is not coming, but it's just that the technique is poor.
It's poor. Right. We'll be going shortly to discuss what role we can all play to be able to overcome these hurdles and these challenges. But before we do, we've gotten some messages from our people. I just want to ask Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah should answer them. Then we'll go quickly to the next set of questions for discussion. So this one is coming from ỌDADEƐ Zonda. ỌDADEƐ Zonda is actually one of our executive producers, right? So this is the question he has to ask. What he wants to find out is that breastfeeding, is it only for babies or husbands? Is the breast only for babies or husbands? Should also be given an opportunity at suckling at breast? I think this is actually a very important question, and I'm sure many of our male listeners would be very interested in this, right? So, what do you have to say on that? Is there any benefit to a man, a husband, suckling on his wife's or his better half's breast?
Okay, so breast milk is for the baby, first of all, but there may be some benefits. Okay, for instance, if you are someone who produces a lot of milk and maybe just breastfed baby, but your breast is still engorged,
right,
and you're in a lot of pain, he can express. I mean, he can help you get some out. Yes, and then also because the husband or the partner has been with the woman for quite some time, he knows, he can identify when there are any changes in the breast. So if there's development of a lump or there are some skin changes on the breast, he may notice them and draw the woman's attention.
Right.
So these may be pointers to a breast disease, like maybe cancer. So it can be beneficial in that sense.
Right. So yes, the breast milk is for the baby, but there are instances where suckling on your partner's breast can actually be beneficial with regards to health. Key amongst them, which Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah has mentioned, is that, for example, your breasts are engorged, you over-lactate or you overproduce breast milk, you've actually expressed some, you've put it in bottles, you've stored, you've expressed some, you've given out to organizations that are supposed to provide breast milk for orphans and all of that. You've done all that, but still the breasts are engorged. Your husband could help you out in expressing some of it so that it relieves you of the pain. Another key and very important benefit that could arise is with regards to early detection of breast cancer. So the partner suckles on the breast even when she's not breastfeeding, right? And they tend to know the feel, the texture, the consistency of the breast and how they look like, so that if there are any changes, any subtle changes, he would be able to pick them up so that they can seek early medical attention. So yes, this is very important to the men. Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah has stated it clearly. These are the benefits. But what it goes to suggest is that when you're suckling the breast, don't just do it because of your own pleasure, but know how they feel in your hands, so that if there's a change, you notice it in time to seek early medical intervention. On to our next question. This one also is asking, regards to milk production, does the size of the breast matter? Or so basically what the person wants to find is that does the size of the breast, if it's bigger, does it mean that it will produce more? I think maybe she might not be too endowed in that regard, so she's worried.
So the size doesn't matter. I mean, God in his own wisdom has formed every woman the way they should be.
Right.
So once you give birth, and it's hormones that control production of milk, not the size of the breast.
Okay.
So once you are breastfeeding, there'll be a signal sent. Like we said, once baby is breastfeeding, the signals are sent, and then you tend to produce more breast milk.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if the breast is big or small. But once you're a lactating mother and the signals are being sent, the right signals are being sent, you definitely be able to produce enough milk for your baby, what your baby needs.
Right. So size doesn't matter. This is not for, with regards to men's conversation. With regards to women, size does not matter. I don't know what people's idea on with regards to size for men is. The jury is still out. We'll be having a discussion on that. Erectile dysfunction, sexual health of men. We would invite one of our very own to come and then discuss that, right? So that's a discussion for another day. But yes, size does not matter when it comes to milk production. That is coming from Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah, our resource person for today, who is a medical doctor, a proud mother, taking care of children with diverse needs at the Child Health Department of Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. Let's move on to, I think, about our last 2 or 3 questions, right, for discussion. Now, we've already spoken about the challenges that a modern day woman is facing. They can be financial, the workplace supports, social challenges and all. Now, what role can the government, employers, civil society organizations, basically every stakeholder when it comes to breastfeeding, what role can they play so that we can overcome and scale these challenges?
Okay, so we can start with the government.
Right, let's start with the government.
So I think they should consider extending the number of months that we are given for maternity leave.
Right.
That will go a long way to help. I was lucky enough, after completing your 2 years house job, it takes a while before you are posted.
Right.
So I had my baby around that time, so I was home for some time. So I was able to exclusively breastfeed my baby. So and it was easier for me because I was at home. Yes, I hadn't resumed work. So if they could look at extending the number of months we have, it would go a long way to help. And then also with the workplaces, like we mentioned earlier, some people allow the breastfeeding mothers to come in maybe an hour later than the other workers, or leave an hour earlier. So it will be good if not all, most of our workplaces incorporate this as part of their policies, that once you are breastfeeding, you are given that opportunity to either report an hour later or leave an hour earlier. And then also allow women to have more breaks once they are at work.
Right.
It doesn't mean that they should be off work all the time, but once they are at work, maybe an extra 30 minutes just so that they can express some milk.
Right.
Yes, and for some people that live close to their workplace, maybe a 30 minute to 1 hour break so that they can quickly go home and breastfeed baby and then come back
Right.
to work. And then would also encourage parents, siblings.
Sorry, not to cut you short, but regards to the employers, you mentioned a point about giving mothers opportunity to go home. So, if, for example, you stay far, do you think it will make sense and that's if it is financially feasible for them to have places where maybe women can go and express their breast milk with privacy and everything?
Yes,
do you
so
think
yes,
that would work?
that would also work. So for those who can go, maybe if the person lives close to
Right,
the premises. For some doctors, they have the opportunity of staying in the facility.
Right.
Yes, and then, like you rightly said, if management could could give a conducive place
Right.
where women could go during their break time to express milk, that would also go a long way to help. Yes.
Right. Okay, so I think you're talking about parents with
Yes,
regards to the role they can
yes.
play.
So our parents, our siblings, even neighbors.
Right.
Breastfeeding is not easy. So once there's a woman who has given birth, and there's any form of help you can offer, I think you should go ahead and offer that help. It will go a long way. And then if a woman decides to breastfeed, we shouldn't look down or make the woman feel embarrassed or make the woman feel as if they are wasting their time or there are better options to breast. I mean, it's the woman's decision. We have to support.
That's actually the best decision.
Yes.
That's actually the best decision.
Yes.
Right.
So we have to support and encourage them and help them in any way that we can.
Right. So being supportive.
Yes.
And that brings a key point. So you know how the culture generally in Ghana is, where a woman bringing out her breast in public, especially to breastfeed, can often, I don't know how it seems like, but it may often, draw people's attention and they begin to look at them in a particular way. I think that's something we should look at. I mean, breastfeeding is very important. Every single one of us breastfed. So when a woman takes the opportunity, children, like Dr. Appau-Duah has told us, babies breastfeed on demand. So it could actually be while the woman is in the throttle. And if the baby wants to breastfeed, it is only important and necessary that they bring out their breast to breastfeed. So yes, all those social hindrances that we put in place, all those cultural hindrances that we put in place, let's try as possible to raise them down so that we can breastfeed our children as often as we want. Right. So, I mean, you've basically covered everything: government, employers, civil society, even neighbors. How about husbands? Dr. ỌDADEƐ has left.
Yes.
ỌDADEƐ Asamoah has left with future ỌDADEƐ Raphael. But for husbands, what role should we also play?
Husbands play a very important role.
Right.
One of the things I mentioned earlier on was that if you are stressed, you're tired, your milk production might actually go low. So if a mother has been able to express some milk and stored in the fridge or freezer, and mother wants to take a little, it's funny with babies. The minute you want, like once you lie down, then that's when they want to get up and then feed again. So you can see mother is tired, so you can just allow mother to have some rest. You go in for the milk that has already been stored in the fridge or the freezer, you thaw it, and then feed baby with that. If baby needs a diaper change, you can help with that, with that aspect as well. You don't need to wake up with the mother all the time, especially when she just went to sleep. Mothers also need to rest so that they can get more milk for baby. Yes. And then also husbands can help around in the house. Now we have more men in the kitchen even than women. So if he doesn't have to be a cook or a chef. Yes, but the little things that you do around the house can help the mother to have more time to breastfeed baby. So instead of the mother going to spend hours in the kitchen cooking, you can help. Or maybe there are times if everybody is tired, you can just tell mother to have a break. You're going to order some food, or it will not always be financially feasible, but once in a while, so that mother can have some rest, and then the time that should have spent cooking, cleaning, washing. She can use that time to either be expressing or breastfeeding baby as well.
Right. So basically, we need a very supportive partner
Yes.
on this journey. So the men should also provide massages and all of that,
Yeah,
right?
it's also necessary.
On that note, my brother is not here. ỌDADEƐ Asamoah Daniel. How does he score on that note? Is he supportive?
11 over 10.
11 over 10. Wow.
Yeah, he did
wow.
very. I mean, he still does it, and it's very good. I mean, I don't know if it's with all ỌDADEƐ guys, but I think you should learn from him.
Well, the verdict is out. She actually said that it is with all ỌDADEƐ guys.
He's the only one. Yeah, no, so. I'm hoping it is with all of you.
Yeah, it is with all ỌDADEƐ guys. We are very supportive, especially with regards to our partners. You remember the episode where we discussed hepatitis B? We had Dr. Ajoeje in cancer here. And you remember her very supportive husband, Reverend John. Right? Reverend John was very supportive. She gave the same verdict. We've now had two people who are giving a verdict on ỌDADEƐs. Christian gentlemen. We are receiving the right training, not just to take our rightful places in society, in our nation, in the church, but also within the family. So be a supportive husband. Be like ỌDADEƐ Asamoah Daniel. Be like all ỌDADEƐs. Be a Christian gentleman and be supportive. I can see Mr. ỌDADEÄ is smiling and nodding. Yeah, he's definitely taking a lot of leaves from ỌDADEÄ Asamoah book. All too soon. The discussion has been thrilling, it's been beautiful, it's been educative, it's been informative. You can think about all the epithets. Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah has done justice to this topic. She's taught us how we can scale the challenges that the modern day and today's woman faces in that challenge that she tries to juggle her work and also the responsibilities of being a mother, including breastfeeding. So let's all make it a point to make breastfeeding and work, right? So before we go and take leave of you, I would have been glad if ỌDADEÄ Asamoah were here to just say a few words to our listeners. But to you, what do you have to say to probably the young ỌDADEÄs who may be listening to us? I mean, this radio station transcends our alumni. It goes everywhere. Everyone is listening to us. Our audience is huge. But sometimes we have some of our young ỌDADEÄs who are still in school listening to us. Do you have any message for them?
Okay, so what I'll say is that they should study hard.
Right.
I mean, it's not easy, but once you make up your mind that this is what you want and this is what you are going for, and you put in all the effort that you can, you definitely make it.
Right.
So, yes, and then apart from that, now times are changing. It's not only book.
Right.
Sometimes you have to be engaged in some extracurricular activity as well. It also helps. I mean, it can be a form of relaxation for you, a form of break from your books. Yes, so you just need to know how to balance and then how to apportion your time rightly. Yes.
Balance is key. Work hard. Time management. Those are the very words that are coming from our resource person, Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah. You know, we are Christian gentlemen. Like I said, we are all embracing. We care about everyone. We do everything to be inclusive. Understand? That's what Christian gentlemen do, apart from being supportive. Right. I want to support you. You're not a girls' school. I know this is something Infansepem would not do. Right. Butcher wouldn't do this. But Preseg would want to do this for you. Okay. This is an opportunity for you. It's been a decade since you left Wesley Girls High School. Right.
Yeah.
An opportunity for you. I think you're going to be having what we call Wrigley's Day.
Yeah.
What is it? What's it called?
Wrigley Day.
Wrigley Day.
Actually
Wrigley
one
Day.
of the founding mothers.
Oh, okay.
One of the heads of
So
the school.
Wrigley is actually the name of a chewing gum manufacturing company. An interesting name. Wesley Girls for right. Yes, one opportunity for you. Tell us what is going to happen during Wrigley Day. What we should anticipate. Has a date been set?
Yes, so there are lots of activities that are going to be taking place.
Right.
There's a week-long program. There's going to be a food bazaar. There's going to be a day where old girls come and showcase their businesses that they have.
Right.
Yes, to help attract small customers. There's going to be a day where we all go to church together as a family to give thanks to God for how far He's brought the school. So there's going to be a lot of activities.
Mm.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't have my list here, but I mean, each day has something very special. So I'll communicate to the our host, and then he would spell out all the he'll give you all the details for each and every day. But it's going to be a really fun week. Yes, going to food bazaar. I mean, we come and see our old girls showing what they have been doing in their own little spaces. It's going to be very interesting.
It's definitely going to be interesting. Do you remember the day when this is starting? Okay, that's fine. I mean, you don't. If a date has not been chosen yet, that's okay. But yes, this is our own small way, or ÖDADEÄ, as supportive as we can be. This is our own small way of supporting our sisters. It is always the Brig girls. They are the pearls and the jewels on the mountain. They're the royal beads who do not rattle too much, right? Yeah. So they'll always be our jewels. But we support everyone. So our sisters, Wesley Girls High School, this is our own small way of supporting you. Wrigley Day, the day we are not certain, but once we get it, we'll let you know. It's going to be an amazing week where old students of Wesley Girls High School, particularly those who completed in the year 2013, will be celebrating a decade since leaving the beautiful school of Wesley Girls High School, and it's going to be everything that you can imagine. You know, Wesley Girls, I mean, I've seen them when they are doing something, they commit themselves to it. So I'm sure it's going to be big, right? It's going to be big, right? Are we all invited? Is everyone invited?
Oh yeah, everyone is invited.
Okay. We'll try and come and support you, right? So shout out to all the Wesley Girls High School students that I know. God bless you for the good work that you're doing. But you know, you always play second fiddle to ÖDADEÄ. Right.
It's going to change very soon.
It's going to change very soon. Okay. I mean, we don't know what you have in your bag of tricks or whatever it may be, but we are hoping you catch up because the gap is quite wide. On that note, you've been to ÖDADEÄ Radio. You've seen the studio. What do you think about ÖDADEÄ Radio?
I think we have a lovely place here. I mean, I like the paintings on the wall.
Right.
I mean, everything here is...
The setup.
Yes, the setup. It's lovely. It's good. It's nice.
Right. Yeah. It's nice. It's lovely. I'm sure you want to even use better descriptive words, epithets. But because of the rivalry, you are being modest and moderate. Don't worry. We understand. Would you want Wesley Girls to have something similar?
Oh, sure. It would be good to have something similar.
It would be good. It would be good. So send a message out there to your old students. Tell them ÖDADEÄ has led the way. They should follow the king. I know the king is God, but you know, on earth we are representatives. ÖDADEÄ are the representatives of God on earth. So follow us. Okay, follow suit. Pick a book, pick a leaf from our book, okay, and then establish a radio station in Wesley Girls as well, right? So that you can also take the word out there. Okay, it looks like I'm bothering and worrying. Our resource person for today, Dr. Eunice Appau-Duah, a proud mother who enjoys her work as a medical doctor and juggles it pretty well, working at the child health department of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The ÖDADEÄ radio crew, the ÖDADEÄ Health Matters crew, they've done a great job. Big shout outs to our executive producers, ÖDADEÄ Zonda, ÖDADEÄ Edifico, our technical producers, Mr. Otu, and Mr. Michael ÖDADEÄ, a proud old student of St. Augustine's College. And also to my co-host, ÖDADEÄ Dr. Prince Samuel Nioma, and my very self, ÖDADEÄ Dr. Anafo Awuni Godwin Ayindenaba. Right, it's been a great time with you. We want to see you same time next week. But before we leave, remember, UNICEF tells us that children who have not been breastfed have more than 14% increased risk of dying before their first birthday compared to children who have been breastfed. This is a staggering statistic. Right. And also continues to tell that more than 500 million women, working women, do not have maternal protection in our national laws. 500 million women. Another staggering statistic. It goes on further to tell us that less than half of infants who are 6 months and below are exclusively breastfed. Less than half. And we're talking about breastfeeding for the first 6 months exclusively with breast milk alone. And just about 20% of countries around the globe, just 20% of countries around the globe actually require employers to provide their employees with paid leave, and also facilities where they can breastfeed in peace, in the privacy, and also be able to express breast milk. These statistics are worrying. The World Health Organization goal is that we would have 70% prevalence of exclusive breastfeeding by 2030, and that's what we're all working towards to. This is an all hands on deck requirement. We all need to come together to be able to make breastfeeding and work. And like we would say, you don't need to have superpowers to be able to juggle your role as a mother and also your role in your career. So let us all come together. Let us make an effort, each and every one of us, to make sure that breastfeeding and work indeed does work. So until same time next week, Wednesday, when we come your way again with another educative, another informative, another enlightening session of ỌDADEɛ Health Matters. Always stay tuned and stay locked to ỌDADEɛ Radio.